The Philippines endured nearly 4 centuries under Spanish colonial rule, a period that left an indelible mark on the nation's identity. This era, spanning from 1521 to 1899, witnessed significant transformations by the introduction of Catholicism, the establishment of Manila as a trade center, and the rise of Filipino nationalism. And before starting the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. The arrival of Ferdinand Magellan in 1521 marked the beginning of Spanish influence in the Philippines. Though Magellan himself was killed in a local conflict, his voyage paved the way for further Spanish exploration. Miguel López de Legazpi led the first successful colonization effort in 1565, establishing Cebu as the initial capital. The Spanish gradually conquered various regions, encountering resistance from some indigenous groups, most notably the warriors of Mactan led by Lapu-Lapu. Solidifying Spanish rule, 1571 to 1800. The late 16th century saw Manila become the administrative center of the Spanish East Indies. The galleon trade, a trans-Pacific route connecting the Philippines to Mexico and Spain, flourished, bringing prosperity through trade in goods like silk and spices. The Spanish crown actively promoted the spread of Catholicism, with missionaries converting many Filipinos and establishing churches throughout the archipelago. This period also saw the emergence of a new social hierarchy, with Spanish peninsulars at the top, followed by Filipinos, Indios, and various ethnic groups. Challenges and uprisings, 1800 to 1898. The 19th century presented challenges to Spanish rule. The rise of European powers like Britain threatened trade dominance, and internal rebellions arose in response to injustices and heavy taxes. Notable uprisings included the Agrarian Revolt led by Andres Novales in 1823 and the Cavite Mutiny of 1872. The execution of Filipino heroes like Jose Rizal in the aftermath of the Cavite Mutiny fueled nationalist sentiments. The Seeds of Independence, 1800 to 1898. The execution of Rizal proved to be a turning point. It galvanized the propaganda movement, a group of Filipino intellectuals who advocated for reforms and representation in the Spanish Cortes parliament. Meanwhile, the Katipunan, a revolutionary society led by Andres Bonifacio, aimed for outright independence through armed struggle. The Philippine Revolution of 1896 erupted, marking the beginning of the end of Spanish rule. The Spanish-American War in 1898 ultimately led to the defeat of Spain and the signing of the Treaty of Paris. While the Philippines initially gained nominal independence, it was then ceded to the United States, ushering in a new era of colonial rule. A legacy of change. The Spanish colonial period left a complex legacy in the Philippines. Catholicism remains the dominant religion, and Spanish influences are evident in language, architecture, and cuisine. The fight for independence forged a sense of national identity, culminating in the eventual liberation from American rule in 1946. Understanding this period is crucial to appreciating the rich tapestry of Philippine history and culture. The continuation, nuances, and beyond the surface. The article provides a strong foundation for understanding the Philippines under Spanish rule. Here's a continuation that delves deeper into some nuances and aspects beyond the initial framework. The encomienda system and social stratification. The Spanish implemented the encomienda system, granting conquistadors control over a specific territory and its indigenous population. Filipinos were forced to pay tribute and provide labor, leading to exploitation and resentment. The role of the Church. The Catholic Church wasn't just a religious institution. It wielded immense political and social power. While it brought education and healthcare services, it also suppressed indigenous beliefs and imposed religious uniformity. The rise of a Filipino elite. Some Filipinos, called principales, collaborated with the Spanish and converted to Christianity. They gained privileges and formed a new social class, sometimes exploiting their own people. Resistance and cultural exchange. Filipino resistance wasn't limited to armed rebellions. Subtle forms of defiance like syncretism, blending indigenous beliefs with Catholicism, persisted. Despite the power imbalance, cultural exchange occurred, with loan words entering the Filipino language and artistic influences becoming evident. The galleon trade and its impact. The galleon trade brought economic benefits but also vulnerabilities. The Philippines became reliant on a single trade route, and the decline of the trade in the 18th century impacted the economy. Additionally, the focus on Manila as a trade hub led to neglect of agriculture and development in other regions. The emergence of nationalism. Nationalist sentiments weren't just a 19th century phenomenon. Discontent with Spanish rule simmered throughout the colonial period. The execution of Rizal became a potent symbol of Filipino oppression, but it wasn't the sole factor in sparking the revolution. Beyond Manila, the focus on Manila shouldn't overshadow diverse experiences across the archipelago. Muslim Filipinos in the south fiercely resisted Spanish rule, and indigenous groups in remote areas maintained some autonomy. Conclusion. The Spanish colonial period remains a subject of complex interpretations. It involved domination, exploitation, and cultural transformation, but also moments of collaboration, adaptation, and resilience. Examining these nuances provides a richer understanding of this defining chapter in Philippine history.